بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Let me first begin by thanking our brothers and sisters from Masjid al-Ashariya in Philadelphia for arranging and conducting another successful gathering of our 3453 family and Shehu family and Philadelphia family and brothers and sisters from other places. May Allah reward you immensely for your diligence and your consistency and acquiring the knowledge of the religion and spreading it to others and being an example of our idea that pushes us to do work, as Imam al-Haddad mentioned, Jahid to Shahid. You keep struggling and you will witness. So may Allah reward y'all immensely for all of your efforts. It is always a pleasure for us to gather with y'all and to study and learn and benefit from each other. And as they say in the community, fellowshipping together. MashaAllah, it's a pleasure. And I want to make a special thank you to our elders, both the men and the women. MashaAllah, you are amazing. We had two elders up to almost 80 years old, one in the late 70s and one actually 80. And they attended and sat as long as they could. SubhanAllah, man. It's really, really inspiring to see that. And all of us younger adults should take a page out of their books. They are like living examples of the statement of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, وَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينُ. Worship your Lord, surrender and submit to your Lord until certainty, meaning death, comes to you. So when we read in the biographies of the scholars like Imam al-Haddad and Al-Habib Ahmed bin Zayn al-Habashi and Imam, those great Imams who worshipped to their very death. And while death came upon them, they were in acts of worship. So when we see our elders, mashallah, making the trip, then climbing steps just to come and sit in the class and say, I'm here with you, Imam. I'm here with y'all. I'm supporting. Subhanallah, Ajib. May Allah reward them. And we should keep them constantly in our dua, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects them and gives them a good ending. And that the life they have is an example for others. Because when you're in those sessions, you see those generations of people, subhanallah, all the way from the elders to babies. And that is really a good sign, that even though there may be struggles in maintaining the level that we would love to see, but even in those struggles, there is so much good. And we should never forget it or undermine the level of that good. And each and every one of us should keep in mind that we have a role. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that every one of us is a shepherd. And we're going to be questioned about our flock, those who we have some responsibilities towards them and authority over them. And each and every one of us have someone like that we must reach and convey the religion to them in our best way. So that's why it's important that we're always learning, that we're always growing, that we're always reviewing, because we have a job, Even as Sheikh Yahya Baltimore mentioned yesterday, I found it was really some sound advice. That he said each and every one of us should first and foremost work on ourselves. Each and every one of us should work on ourselves to become the best Muslim inwardly and outwardly that is in our capacity. Each and every one of us work hard to become the best Muslim inwardly and outwardly that is in your capacity. As the Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to worship Allah as much as you can, which means to fear Allah, to obey Allah as much as you can. Do your part. And also let me thank Imam Naeem, Imam Fahim, and Sheikh Yahya for supporting the efforts of our brothers and sisters in Philadelphia by attending and dispensing beneficial knowledge. May Allah reward them immensely. And for us sticking together to do this work, which is needed, we need more teachers. We don't have enough teachers. those who understand what we're trying to do as a community and contribute what they contribute of their resources and skill sets to make it possible to happen. Walillahi alhamd. I was asked yesterday, so I came on a little early because I wanted to address it. What are we doing? What's your mission, Imam? I got some of it, but it's foggy. So I'm going to ask you. I answered, but I want to see if that was one person that I thought really, really, really would understand what we're doing, but they were completely honest with me and said, I don't fully understand. So I'm going to ask you, you've been observing us for some time. What are we about? What are we trying to do? Let's hear you. And is no right or wrong answer. Is what I mean right and wrong answer. I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer. I mean, what do you understand from what you've been observing? Some of you have visited, some of you have come to the Black Imams roundtables around the country. Some of you have come to the post-Fajr reflection annual barbecue. Some of you have come to the African American Islamic Summit. Some of you saw us give lectures in different places. You are all online. What do you understand what we're trying to do? I would like to hear from you. So I'm going to be patient and read what you say. What do you understand that we're trying to do with this platform, with our work, with this 3453 family, all of these things? What do you understand? Feel free. I want to hear you, inshallah, or read you. Mm. So Brother Naveer mentioned establish Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah in the Black community for today and tomorrow. Strong point. Yes, that's true. MashaAllah. Which Tahira said is similar. MashaAllah. And Khadija said similar. Who else? What is your thoughts? So I can watch. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum, Imari. Change the mindset about our deen. Leave a legacy for our youth. Together, correct belief, grow, love, and wellness. MashaAllah. Trying to show and give us the correct way of the Sunnah. Okay. MashaAllah. So let me be very clear. Maybe you can write it down. Our first and foremost mission is to learn, practice, and teach Islam according to the methodology of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah. So let's put that, right? That's the main thing we're trying to do with this platform. To learn, practice, and convey Islam according to the methodology of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah. right? So if we can put that up, everyone, and we can share it. So that's the primary thing that we're doing. And it's the main aspect of our work, right? That's the main thing, right? The question that we always try to clarify, that is known about the learn and the practice and convey Islam, but this latter part of that, the correct methodology of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, is the one that we have to work hard on. Because ideas that have spread may not be consistent with the methodology of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And there's where we have a gray area that we need to clarify. So when we mention Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, what do we mean? So that everyone is clear. When we say Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, what do we mean? I would love to have all of you in a live class where we can actually communicate and talk. When we say Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, what do we mean? I'm not talking about what others may mean. When you hear Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah on this platform, on any of them, what do we mean? You should all be able to just run this easily now. I would hope. What do we mean? Be very clear. When we say Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, what do we mean? I would like all of you to answer. Don't answer what you mean if you don't mean what we mean. No, that Allah exists without a place. Because if you understand when we say Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that would fall into what we're saying. But when we refer to Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, who are we talking about? Let's say it better. This is very important. So who are we talking about? Be specific and explicit. Good. Right there. Could everyone copy that? Could everyone copy what our brother Isa put up there? Everyone copy it. That's what we mean when we say Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. That's fine. No problem. That's why I would like us to copy so that uh, we're clear. And I want to say something to you. Why I say that? After we copy that and share it so that everyone sees it, can we all copy what Isa put up and put and post and paste it in the comment section, inshallah? Could we all do that? So we just block everything else out with that. Because you come every day to these lessons and to this platform, you should know what you're coming to and you should understand it well. And we would like you to be able to articulate it yourself, right? We want a point where all this is easy for you to articulate, right? And even if it takes review to do that, then alhamdulillah, we review, no problem. Because if we're not understanding these things and we have some generalized idea of what we're doing, we're not going to be effective. We have to be crystal clear in what we're doing. MashaAllah, may Allah make it easy. Sister Petra, inshallah. Where is the copy and paste? We cannot, our phones are broke. Where's the copy and paste? I don't see it. Tell you. So that's the primary focus. So everything that we do and teach is going to be directed to making that clear, right? And whenever we use the term Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah, or the people of the way of the Prophet ﷺ, and the majority of the Muslim nation, that's what we're referring to. Now, those names, Al-Ash'ari or Al-Maturidi in Aqidah, represent a system of belief in Islam. And they represent a school or a school of thought or a methodology by which we understand Islamic belief or tenets of faith from the primary Islamic sources. So when you say Ash'ari or Maturidi, there's going to be an understanding of Islamic beliefs that are codified, systematized, structured. So if someone tells me he's Ash'ari, I already know his belief. Or if he says he's Maturidi or she, I already know what they believe. If I learned properly. So there is no question. This one is Ash'ari. I know what they believe. I know if he's Ash'ari or Maturidi or she, I know they believe that Allah exists without a place. I know that they believe in attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know they don't liken Allah to his creation. I know they don't give Allah bodily attributes. I know they believe what is obligatory to attribute to Allah, what is permissible to attribute to Allah, what is impossible to attribute to Allah. I know their beliefs about the prophets. I know because that's a structured system of learning belief. And I already know as an Ashari or a Maturidi, their teachers, their scholars, the books they learn, that's already within that structure, right? In terms of al-Aqidah, in terms of the Islamic belief, that's clear, right? Here's a problem, it especially in this area. This is the most important area that we need to work on in our explaining. Why? Because this is the area where there's the most perversion and deviance in the issue of the creed. I thought about something yesterday that really disturbed me, but I understand. It really disturbed me, and I thought about it. That we would find us who's supposed to be Ashari or Maturidi inclining to be in the ranks and in the company of people who directly contradict that while fleeing from those who believe the exact same thing we believe in principle. I thought about that heavily. It happened to me like twice yesterday. And I was thinking, I was like, wow, that's deep. It's sad and deep. Like, what's going on here? Like, we should be, and myself and Sheikh Yahya had a nice talk about this yesterday. We should be one hand as al-Asha'ira wa Maturidiyya. And our organizational associations, groups should never overweigh that. Unfortunately, it does in some cases, and we should change that narrative, right? We should never let organizational politics outweigh Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah in our methodology. So every group that we may see should be under that umbrella. And that group's organizational mission should not overweigh that. If you understand what I'm saying. Is this point clear to y'all, what I'm mentioning here? We have organizations. All of them may be Sunni. We have different sheikhs. All of them may be Sunni. But they have, as an organization, as a sheikh, their own methodologies or missions that they're doing as a group or as an individual. And sometimes those missions have a harmful effect on our overall mission as Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah. And each and every one of us should never let that happen. Am I clear or no? I have something in my mind, but sometimes I may not be as clear as I want. And I think it's getting across and it's not. So I'm asking to make sure you understand what I'm talking about. Do you? Mm. Tayyib. So, with that being said, that's in the creed. So, this issue is something that we have to learn well. The second issue, so this issue is the most important. And because of the onslaught of creedal ideas that contradict al-Ash'ira wal-Maturidiyya and have become famous, many of us are intimidated by that. So many, the sheer number of people with creeds that contradict the creed of the Ash'ira wal Maturidiyya are so abundant in our communities. Those I've noticed this who have it are intimidated by that. So they don't convey, or they're very vague, which hurts people who don't know, right? The people who don't understand and trying to learn, that vagueness is harmful to them. Because those creeds that are conveyed that are not consistent with the Ash'ari and Maturidi creeds, they will mix in those circles and spread their bad creed. But if the people don't learn the correct creed, they will never identify it because they will come with the name of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah. So just saying Ahlus Sunnah in our time or Sunni is not sufficient for clarity. Just saying we are Sunni Muslims is not sufficient in our time for clarity. Because people who are not Sunni, and they are unfortunately the most famous and widespread in our country, have the same name. And they will give you a doctrine that is not Sunni in the name of Ahlus Sunnah. So you, a person, won't distinguish between the correct Islamic Sunni belief and the incorrect belief claiming to be Sunni, claiming to be the belief of Islam. Let me clarify something in this regard. Do you all realize when we say the correct belief in Islam, we mean by that the belief of the Sunni Muslims, who we say are Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah, who are the Ash'ira wal Maturidiyya. Do y'all realize that? We don't look at others as conveying the Sunni belief. May Allah protect your internet, Sister Fatima. And if your internet go out, may Allah protect your heart so that your heart is still connected and the message reach you from heart to heart. MashaAllah. Does everyone understand this point? I am relentless in making sure we understand this. right? Because I understand I be seeing some amazing stuff. So that's why I know, like, there's not enough of us who are explicit. They're not. We be beating around the bush big time. Politics at its finest. And we can't do that for our, we have to have some straight shooters, right? Like we have to have some straight shooters. Okay, so that's in the creed. So that's a system, a structure. So, I'll give you an example. So, I am Shafi'i and Ash'ari. Right? So that's in fiqh. So fiqh, I am following the Shafi'i school. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm Shafi'i. Meaning, in most of the things I do, I try to follow the Shafi'i school of jurisprudence. Imam Na'im, for instance, Imam Genius, he is Maliki in al-fiqh, meaning mostly everything he tries to do is according to the school of Imam Malik. However, our creed, our belief, we are Ash'ari, right? We are Ash'ari. So when we're talking about the creed, it's not going to be different. It's going to be the same. Even though in al-fiqh he's Maliki, in al-fiqh I'm Shafi'i. But when we talk about the creed, it's going to be the same. There should never be a point on a creedal issue that me and him differ, especially our foundational Islamic beliefs. Maybe there could be some details of the Islamic creed that are not core issues that may have more than one view about it. In this case, we may differ, right? I'm preferring one view, he's preferring another view, but those views are within the creed of the Ash'ari, right? So from this issue, we never have a difference, right? Ever. And if we ever had a difference, somebody's a deviant. Now we just have to discover, right? If we ever have a difference, somebody's a deviant, right? Somebody's deviating here. Now, the job is not, we have to discover where's the deviance because it shouldn't exist, right? Now, in fiqh, in the rules, the practical rules, so the aqidah is what we believe in our hearts. And with our minds, we understand them, right? Now, in the fiqh, that is beyond the scope of myself and Imam Na'im. What do I mean? Because as we learned, Ahlus Sunnah has a structure for Islamic legal rulings, how they are derived. Myself or Imam Na'im, and I know he doesn't mind, I'm using him as example because he's Maliki, and he is my colleague, and teaching and in sharing, and we're together, right? But he's Maliki. So we have a structure that both of us must follow. We are mukallid. Let's put this there. So we are, both me and him, mukallid. We are followers. We are not mujtahids. Myself nor him. I don't know. He might be a mujtahid now, joking. Like, we are not mujtahids. So the differences in our schools are way above our pay grade. That is the realm of mujtahid scholars. And in both of our schools, that is clearly understood. Does everyone follow that? If you don't understand what I'm saying, go ahead, you can ask questions so that it's clear, because this is important to understand. We all need to be on the same page here, right? And we need to take the time to get it, right? So our position is to follow those qualified scholars within our respected schools, and we're not it. Is this point clear? Because all of you by now should know the difference between a mujtahid and a muqallid, right? So you have two positions. You have the mujtahid, right? And the muqallid. One is qualified to deduce legal rulings from the primary sources of the Islamic law, and the other one follows the other, the mujtahid. All of us, we follow the mujtahid, right? All of us, we follow the mujtahid and their deductions. So the differences that we may find within the schools are a result of the work of the mujtahids within the school. And as people who are not at that level, we follow the deductions of those mujtahids. So hence, that's the purpose of the school, right? And this is in accordance to the Quranic verse, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you don't know. We don't know. We are mukallidun, so we don't have the requisite knowledge to do that job. So someone does it, and we follow those qualified scholars based on their expertise in Islamic jurisprudence. Is this clear? So we're not going to make rulings on our own. So if you ever see me talking about this is based on Quran and Sunnah, you already know that I'm out of my league, because I would say this is the ruling of the school, and this is the Quranic verses that those mujtahid scholars use as an evidence for that ruling. As for me, I'm not in the position to deduce anything. There's a big difference. I want you to teach you how to word this stuff so it's clear to you. Those mujtahidun, those mujtahid scholars, they're the ones who follow Quran and Sunnah and actually deduce legal rulings with certain methodological principles for that. They do that, not me and you. That's not our job. It's above our pay grade. We didn't have the qualifications for that. So when we relate through the school, and as we learn more about the school, we see some of the evidences of those mujtahid scholars, why they deduce those legal rulings, and we may quote what they said. But beyond that, we're out of our league. Is this clear? So if the mistake is there, it's not from us. And if the mistake is from us, it's because we either misunderstood the legal ruling within the school, or we're outside of the realm of our abilities. And we need to get back in stay in our lane. This is easy stuff when we got it, right? It's not difficult. So if I make a mistake, my mistake, I'm talking about in the rules of the religion, how to pray, how to fast, how to pay zakat, how to perform hajj, how to marry, how to divorce, how to buy, how to sell, how to do contracts, such things, legal matters, right? Where there are rules in the religion. My mistake would be for me not to follow the schools of those mujtahid scholars and their legal deductions and try to do that myself. That would be my error. If I'm quoting them, that is my position. That's all I can do. And follow them as they have documented. That is actually what following a school of thought is. So if I make a mistake, which is possible, it's easy if you stick to the school to realize the mistake. Then you can come back and say, I mean, you made a mistake here. The madhab is this, not what you said. And then, as I know I'm muqallid, I say, oh, I misunderstood. I'm wrong. Follow that, and I'll correct it as well. There's no space for ego here. Do you understand my point? So the same with Imam Naim. It's going to be the same. Imam Naim is saying something. This is the Maliki school. Okay. We're going to trust him initially because we know him not to be a liar, right? But if somehow he's made a mistake or we're not convinced, we'll just ask him, show us in the school. It's easy, not hard. We know he's not mujtahid, so we're not questioning you. You're a muqallid. We may have mistakes because we're not qualified, so just show us within the school. That's easy. And that goes for every other school, right? Is everybody with me there? All right. Let me fix one issue. All of us, 99.9% of us, there may be a 0.1% of someone, some amazing individual who we don't know about, but all of us are muqallid. None of us are mujtahids. Not a one. Do y'all understand this point? All of us, even our imams all around the country, are all muqallid. There are no mujtahids among us that we know. And if anyone claims that, his claim has to be tested because that's a huge claim, right? There's no one outside of that. Whoever is talking about they're outside of that, they are a deviant. And their deviance should be exposed because it's dangerous, right? So we got these, and it's become a standard. I don't follow no madhab. Oh, you're a mujtahid. Maybe the one who says that doesn't even know what a mujtahid is, right? Because of the system of, giving titles by default. We need some honesty here, right? Like seriously. Even if we don't have it, say, I don't have it. It's fine. No one's going to look at you ugly because you're not a mujtahid. You're not. We already know that. Start treating your religion like you treat your dunya. I was listening to something yesterday. Man. There was an African scholar from Nigeria. He's an Arabic master from Al-Azhar. Man, this guy is nice, right? I got to put you on, Imam Naim. In Arabic, he's awesome. I've been listening to him, right? He said something yesterday that blew me away. And I think this applies to us. He said that the seeker of knowledge, talibul ilm, needs to know qimatul ilm. He needs to know the value of knowledge. Not al-ilm al-shar'i, sacred knowledge, religious knowledge. He said the student of knowledge needs to know, or it's not befitting of him that he doesn't know the value of knowledge, sacred knowledge. So let's put that up. This is beautiful, what he said. He said, it is not befitting of the students of knowledge not to know the value of sacred knowledge. It's not befitting. لا ينبغي. Not befitting. Right? Not befitting of the student of knowledge not to know the value of sacred knowledge. Sacred knowledge has a value, a worth, an importance. If you're a seeker of knowledge and you don't know the value of knowledge, then you're not really a seeker and you're not doing the befitting thing. Yes, Ali Julius, I didn't know it was $100. I never counted it, but I did receive money from brothers, but I didn't count it. So I'll go back and count it. I didn't count it yet. I did receive it though. They did give it to me. Barakallahu fikum. May Allah reward you. And soon as it was given to me, Imam Fahim was counting the money. So he's a proof that I got it. He said, yo, man, what you doing with that money? See, we got everybody's eyes is on the bread. They were sitting right next to me when they gave me that money for you. But like I said, we didn't count it, right? But you said it's 100, it's 100. And if it's missing anything, I'll put it because it was my responsibility to count it, but I didn't. I just put it away. So you will be credited for 100, no matter what. So he said that. Then he said, just as the business people or traders, they all know the value of money. He said, would you ever imagine going into the marketplace, a mall, avenue, where the shopping is at, a souk, right? And having to advise and admonish the business people who are selling the value of money? Let's answer that question ourselves. Can you imagine going to the mall and someone's in the middle of the mall or going to the stores and telling the owners and the business people how important it is to get money? Can you imagine that? Trying to tell them why they need to sell goods to make money. They're business people. They have stores. They're selling products. Does anyone have to advise them and teach them that they need to make money? It's not even imaginable, right? May Allah give you strength in your inward sight so that you see better with your heart than you do with your eyes. Ameen. Right? He said, likewise, no one should have to keep advising the student of knowledge of the value of knowledge, because knowledge is better than wealth. So you should have the value of knowledge at the forefront of your mind all the time as a seeker of knowledge. Knowledge is way more valuable than wealth, right? Knowledge is more valuable than wealth. So for us, the sacred knowledge, which all this relates to, is more important. So then we need to know from where to take that knowledge. There is this idea, honestly, height of arrogance, where a person doesn't possess a thing and gets angry because you tell him you don't possess it. Why are you angry? Why don't you just go get it? Like, why are you disturbed? Someone tells you you're not a doctor and not qualified to practice medicine when you haven't done the requisite study to be a doctor and practice medicine. Why are you angry? It doesn't make sense. Why are you disturbed? Why are you upset? And you still refuse to go get the what is required to be a doctor and practice medicine. You just want me to call you a doctor and allow you to practice medicine, and you haven't done the work. Would any of us accept that? This one, we're going to call him a doctor, and we're going to let him practice medicine, and he doesn't have the requisite studies and information. Would any of us accept? We wouldn't accept. So if we already know the requisite knowledge that you need to deduce legal rulings from the Quran and the Sunnah, and you don't have it, why would you expect us to allow you to practice on our religion without qualifications? Why would we even allow you to do that? We wouldn't. Even if that's the default position, we here to realize I'm in this position because we're at this stage. This is not acceptable. You know what? I remember Sheikh Walid used to say this way back in the day, right? We are only teachers out of necessity because we're not among learned scholars. Had there been learned scholars, we would just sit down and learn and assist. We wouldn't be at the head. It's easy. So there are no scholars. We have to do what we can do. We learn as much as we can. We convey what we can. Then we increase. Then we increase. That's how you learn. But we never claim to be scholars. We never claim to do the work of scholars when we're not scholars. We're not doctors. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to do what we can, and we accept that, right? I'm not just going to let us die. We got to do something. But while we're doing something, we realize that we have to get the proper medical treatment, right? So if I got a cut, I'm going to obviously put something to try to stop the bleeding. But I'm going to actually go get this checked by a professional. But in the meanwhile, I can't bleed to death. So I'm going to do whatever I can do based on my knowledge to stop this bleeding. While I realize I'm going to go get this checked by a qualified doctor. I'm not just going to say, all right, I did it, it's over. No, I have to go to the next level. That's the same thing we're doing in al-fiqh, right? Now, some of us are at different levels. Some of us actually have learned teachers who are more learned than us in the different schools and can teach us so we can advance, right? But none of us should ever make the mistake of considering ourselves qualified to do something we very well know we're not qualified to do. Nor should we allot that to someone else? Is this clear? So all of us are muqallidun, all of us. And with that being said, there has to be some perimeters to make sure we all stay in place. There has to be some, and the perimeters are the books, the reliable books of al-fiqh that are learned from trustworthy teachers. This is just facts. And sometimes it may come off that some people mistake, oh man, he think he know everything. No, 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 no. I realize I don't know. And I realize since I realize I don't know, what should be obvious is that I also realize when you don't know as well, right? If I know what I don't know, and I know what it takes, and I know what I don't have, so obviously I can identify if you have the same errors I have. And if I'm not qualified, and I know I'm not qualified, I obviously can recognize you as well. Do you follow the point? It's not arrogance, right? I'll give you an example. Take away from Dean, right? I used to play basketball, right? I used to play basketball. And I was average, right? Average basketball player, right? But I actually learned how to play organized basketball. And we tell this joke all the time. When I was on the basketball team, and one year, I got in trouble in school. So when it was basketball tryouts for the next year, I was on, what's they call it? Dang, I ain't been in school so long, I forgot what they call it. What's that called? A detention. They made me stay after school the whole tryouts for the basketball team. I'll never forget this. The teacher, I was bad. I was doing stuff I ain't had no business doing. And the teacher knew that I wanted to play basketball. And she knew the tryouts was coming. And she put me on detention every day during the tryouts. Man, she got me good. Right? So now I was on the basketball team. So usually, if you're on the team, it's like a shoe-in for the next year, especially if you're a good player. I was a guard. I was a good player, so I would definitely make the team. But by me not coming to the tryouts, you still got to try out, but you're going to make it. So they picked the team, and I went to the coach. I'm like, come on, that's not fair. I'm like, I should be on the team. And this was, all right, even if I was bad and I got in trouble, you know this was intentional. So the coach says to me, this relates to what I'm talking about. It's an analogy. The coach says to me, okay, I'll give you a chance. If you go to that teacher and she say you change your behavior, that's number one. And then you play someone one-on-one for their position. You pick someone on the team that you play one-on-one for their position. If you beat them, you're on the team and they're off. That's the best deal I can give you. Oh man, this is a funny story. So I go to the teacher, and the teacher says, okay, you can try out. Because she was a cheerleader coach, right? She said, okay, I accept. She told the coach he can do it. So when we went, he said, well, who are you going to play? I already knew who I was picking. This one guy, he was from my neighborhood, and he was the fanciest dribbling behind the back. He could do all kinds of stuff with a basketball. But the basic skills of basketball, he was lacking, and I knew it. He looked good. Pow, 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 pow. You know, through the legs, around the back, he could do all that nonsense. But if you put some defense on him, he's going to turn the ball over because he's busy trying to be fancy, right? And he's lazy on defense, right? So pick him. I can't do what he could do. I couldn't do all that fancy stuff. But I knew he was lacking basic basketball skills. And all you got to do is stick to the basics. You'll beat him every time, right? And that's what happened. We played one-on-one, and he lost his position. And we went to the state champions after that. And they asked me, why you pick him? I said, because I know I could beat him. I had no doubt in my mind I would beat him. Just because he was lacking certain basic skills in basketball. I knew I would beat him. Wasn't even a thought. Not that I couldn't beat others, but others had skills that he definitely didn't have. And I knew it. Even though he looked better than everybody. But this ain't Showtime at the Apollo. This is basketball. And I knew how to get him. What is the analogy to that? So you know what is the skill. I don't know. I did. Yeah, I did, Asa. So you know what is lacking. So when you know what is lacking, you know where it's missing, right? So when I say that, we know what the mujtahid needs. So if you're going to claim to be a mujtahid, and we obviously see you don't have the basic tools of ijtihad, then it's easy for us to expose you're not a mujtahid. And you should be muqallid, whether you like it or not. You are muqallid, even if you choose not to act like one. Does the analogy make sense to you? I don't know if it makes sense to me. It was the best thing that came to my mind at the moment. Do y'all follow what I'm saying? So for instance, this is a book that was given to me by Imam Naim, right? Diya Ta'wil fi Ma'ani Tanzil, right? It was written by Abdullah ibn Muhammad ibn Uthman Dan Fodio. This is the brother of the Shehu Uthman Dan Fodio. So his brother is Abdullah, his younger brother. So these were great Maliki scholars in Nigeria who actually established an Islamic government, right? They were scholars, right? So in there, they have his biography in this book, the brother. And they mention his learning, right? They said he was raised in a house of knowledge and piety, rectitude. He read the Quran on his father. I want you to pay attention. He was raised in a house, right, of knowledge and piety, rectitude. Ilm was salah, right? He read the Quran, meaning he learned the Quran and memorized the Quran at the hands of his father. This is the way we want to learn. We're trying to establish these things, right? Then, after his father passed, he started to study with his older brother, the Shaykh Uthman Danfurio. He studied with his brother when he was 13 years old. 13. He's with his older brother, learning, after he already had memorized Al-Quran. What's the indication for us? This is in Africa. This is our people. This is how they were learning. They're teaching their kids. He's 13. He's already memorized. The parent is taking care of the child. They have a house that is suitable for piety and learning from the mother and father. The older brother is taking over his education. Right? He studies with his brother all of his books of poetry in Islamic sciences. He used to write poetry in Arabic. Then he talks about the main sciences he took from him. He said, this is Sheikh Abdullah Danfodio. He's saying, I learned from my brother Ilm Tawheed, the science of Tawheed, which is the creed, from the books written by Imam al-Sunusi. So, Al-Qutub al-Sanusiyya, and their explanations. Those books are Ash'ari books. So he didn't just say, I was reading Quran and Sunnah. He said, I learned the science of Tawheed from these books and their commentaries from my brother. So everything we said, isn't it what he just mentioned? We said you must learn from a reliable, trustworthy teacher, reliable books, according to a school in creed. Is that not what he just said? Exactly. I took from my brother in the science of Tawheed from the books of the Sanusi creeds, which are several books, and their explanations, which are Ash'ari books, famous, well-known. That was their methodology. So we find them Ash'ari. He said, I took from him Ilm al-Tasawwuf, the science of Tasawwuf. So they were Sufis. He said, that which is for emulating and acting in there, a takhalluq, in the character, which we mentioned, and that which was for a tahaqquq, to actually realization. What was sufficient from that? Which were the works of Imam al-Ghazali. Same thing we saying, nothing different. This is, they established an Islamic state. So all of them saying, we're saying the same stuff. That's what he said. He said, I took from him in the books of fiqh that which you can know, far'ain, the personal obligation. He mentioned it. Like what? Like Al-Aqtariyah, which is a small metin in Maliki fiqh, and Al-Ashmawiyah, a small metin in Maliki fiqh, and the Risala of Ibn Abi Zayd, and other than that. So he's going in levels of books in Maliki fiqh. This is what they learned. And then he goes into other sciences. What are we saying different? What are we saying different? Nothing. That's what was happening among our people. And they all had chains of narration. They had teachers. Shouldn't we establish that among ourselves? So here in every school, you have this structure. So he mentioned, you learn this, then I learned this, then I learned this, and other books. Our scholars from our people had that methodology. Why are we differing from that? We agree with what they said and what they followed. And these were learned people who actually reached the level to establish Islamic governments and kingdoms, sultanate. And that was their methodology. Why are we doing something different? And you will see that consistency in Ahlus Sunnah, right? That same consistency you will find, right? Whether I read from the Maliki scholars, from the Shafi'i scholars, from the Hanafi scholars, from the Hanbali scholars, the same methodology. Well-known books. So then we ask the person to say, okay, you want us to follow this? Show me your methodology. Why doesn't it match the methodology of hundreds of thousands of scholars over this ummah? And we would have a discussion where this is a source of debate, which is insanity. And then if you go to another level, and this is what I say, check the chains of Sheikh Abdullah to match our chains, and we'll find that we meet. And how does we meet when I don't know him? He's lived way before me from an area I never studied, right? Yet, when I trace the methodology I learned with the methodology he learned, it's the same. Just different in fiqh, but the same methodology. Why are we doing something different? And you can do that all around the world. Why are we doing something different? I don't get it. And why would we entertain doing something different, except that we don't know? But once we know, we should act accordingly. If we don't know, then that's understandable. We don't know. But once we know, we must change, right? Once we learn, we must change. Our collective job is to ensure that we learn. And we have to drop our pride to do that. If we don't know, you have to say, I don't know. That's essential for all of us. It's not about us as individuals so much. It is from us from a salvation level. Save yourselves. But we have our family also, right? We have our families. We have to be concerned. We have to fix it. Even if we've become popular with it being broken, we still have to fix it. It cannot continue like this. And whoever signs up for this task must realize it's going to be difficult, because we've become accustomed to doing it wrong. It's been accustomed. It's widespread. And some of that, not all of it, but some of that was by design. But that's an entire different discussion. Even that being so, if we've overcome that design and Allah gave us access to overcome it, then we got to overcome it, even if it was done by design. We can't sleep and do the same thing when we know what's happening. We have to change. And each of us have to do our part to facilitate that change. It's serious business. It's not something that we take lightly. Now, these are people who have a well-known history in Africa. Since we understand, this is their sayings. This is what they said. This was their methodology. This is what they wrote. And we even see that people are trying to change that. That's deep, which is documented by them, and people still trying to change that. Think about it. This stuff is documented. It's not like you can't research. It's available. It's clear. It's in print. It's right here. I ain't make it up. It's right there. Right on the book. Clear. Anyone who reads Arabic can see it. I ain't make it up. This was their methodology. Easy. It's enough of us who can read Arabic at different levels. So the one who's not that good, there's someone above him who can check him. We can do it. It's not above our capacity. We actually are in a state that we can do real research. We can check these things for real. It's not easy just to deceive us. We can do it. And we have money to actually buy the books that are necessary for the research, to do the travel if it was necessary. We actually have the resources to change our condition. So why are we not doing it? We have to ask ourselves, what are we up to? What are you up to? What are you doing? And honestly, go back to what we was talking about. We have to know the value of our knowledge. That's important to understand. Listen, and the challenge was told to me for us. Knowledge can be dangerous. Knowledge can be dangerous. What does it mean? Because when you seek knowledge, you're going to get angry when you realize some things were by design. You're going to get angry. It's just natural, right? When you realize that people have been hiding stuff from you for whatever reason, it's going to become frustrating. But your job is don't hide it from the ones who are coming after you. Since you now know what was hidden from you, don't hide it yourself, right? You realize, I was talking to an elder yesterday. I think he said he was 73 or 75, something like that. I knew this guy since I was like 12 years old, this elder. He came, man, there was a lot of elders there, come and think of it. He was like 75. I knew him since I was like 12. And he was in the class. And I know him that's been through several movements, and he's sitting in my class. I knew him since I was like 12. We were in the Ansar community together. He was older and I was a kid coming through, right? So we shared this journey. So he loves me because he knew me since I was a kid, and he remembers me, right? And I told him this, I said, that's why we have to be so explicit. I know sometimes it seems uncomfortable, but we don't want people to keep going through what we went through. You know how many movements we've been through in 40, 50 years? How many different, trying to find the truth. And the truth is right in front of us, but people just on some ego trip, they're not just being straight for whatever reasons they got going on. Some is just swindlers. Some really don't know, and they have a little bit, but they're missing some pieces. It's all different reasons. The end result is there's stuff that was missing that we're learning now that we have to make sure the next generation is not in that position. That's all we're talking about. So we can't be interested in soothing egos when we're getting slaughtered. We can't. We have to speak the truth and explain what we all know to be true, right? We have to do it. We don't have no choice. And while doing that, realize that we're still missing stuff. We're still missing some important ingredients to this, and we must go get those ingredients, right? We're missing some stuff that we must go get. But some of us are not capable of doing that. So we have to inspire in our youth the value of knowledge and send them to go get it, right? There's a lot of things missing, and we need to send our youth on a treasure hunt, right? Hey, we're too old. We don't got the energy. We don't even have the minds anymore. I think about myself. Do you know I can't read 10 pages without going to sleep? Myself. I have to have somebody read for me. If I try to read 10 pages, I won't make it. Boom, I'm out of there. I'm done. I remember I could read a book in one setting with ease, flow, boom, a whole book, one setting. Pew, can't do that no more. I can't. So I have to, if I have to, pass that to somebody who can do it. I can't. No matter what I would like to do, I don't have the ability. I can't do it. So I have to inspire someone who can do it. I can't do that part, but I can inspire you to do it. I can show you how to do it. I can show you what to do. I can tell you where to go, right? Right? I could do it. And you could do the same thing. You can inspire someone, even if you don't have the ability. You can learn enough to teach someone else what to do who has that ability. You follow my point? So that's our work, you know. The tasawwuf side is the same. It's the same thing. We have to learn properly what is acceptable to tasawwuf and what is not. That is established by our structure of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah. There are certain books that have received acceptance by the majority of this nation. We need to learn what those books are, and then we need to learn them with trustworthy teachers, just as we do in every madhab. Right? So that is important, right? And it is essential that we do this. Seriously, y'all. And it's not enough of us doing it. And someone said something to me yesterday that I really like. They hey, don't get distracted by comments. That goes for myself and for you. When people are making comments that really ain't questions, don't get distracted by that, right? If you want to listen, you want to read what they say, they can make a platform and you go kick it with them, right? Don't get distracted by it, because what I'm saying is important for us. Don't get distracted, right? May Allah reward you all, right? Someone said something to me, and I think about it a lot because it's real. You know, we sending people to study, Imam. We sending people to study, Imam. But when they come back, we have not set up things so they can do what we sent them to do. Think about that. We send them to study, but we have to set up situations, arrange circumstances so that they can go deliver what we send them for. Right? That's important. So we have groundwork right now. And I was thinking, we got people overseas right now, a bunch of students, young in their 20s, and with children, some of them, right? If we don't develop an environment that facilitates them to do the work, even though we send them, we still defeat the purpose, right? Even though we sent them, they learned, but there's nowhere for them to teach, nor have we developed in our understanding to benefit from their teachers. Muawiyah, do you mind if I share a story that me and you talked about this issue? But only with your permission. Can I share the story? It's something me and you was talking about. I'll word it in the nicest way possible. Do you accept? Okay. So he said yes, is a dalil, right? Muawiyah is a young man. I think 23, 24, 25, somewhere 23, I think. 24, one of them. 20. How old are you, Muawiyah? 23? And I love this young brother. I talk to him regularly. Right? One of the things we talk about all the time is what you need, right? What you need. So he's Maliki, right? He's Maliki in fiqh. So I told him, you need to be like your teacher. You need to be like your teacher. Don't come back quoting just your teacher. come back like your teacher. That's a heavy, right? Don't come back here talking about this is all we need when you had access to everything above what we're actually doing right now. You need to get it all. You need to master it all. So that when you come back, you are our reference, not your teacher. You are our reference, not your teacher. I don't know if y'all understand the significance of what I'm saying. His teacher is one of the most rigorous teachers of Maliki fiqh in Cairo today. So you're in the vault. Don't come back here with a few coins. You're in the vault. It's open. Don't come back here with a few coins to give us. Bring the vault to us. Do you understand my point? Y'all follow me? This is a serious issue. And we can't accept that our students come back half-cocked. We can't do it. No. We have to push them. You're in the vote. Bring the whole thing back. Don't come back with a few coins. Talking about that's all y'all need. No. We need you to become him, and even better if possible. And he will push you for that as well. Right? We're not going to be impressed that you said, I studied and I was overseas for 5, 10 years, and you come back and you just got coins. No, we cannot accept. No. You've wasted your time and ours, and you've let us down if you don't do it. And that goes for all of us. When you come back, it shouldn't be that we have to do anything except mentor you. That's it, not teach. We should be mentoring because we are experienced with dealing with what we have to deal with. Right? We have to deal. So we experience. We've been doing it before you were born. But you have to take it to the next level. And when you come back, we're going to mentor you and show you the real on the ground stuff, but you have to have the information because we have to help facilitate that for you. This is the conversations me and him have and other of our students, because this conversation was not had with the generations before us. That's why we don't have them. Not at the level it needs to be had. Because we did it. We went overseas too. We studied too. But we didn't have the concepts that we have today when we were studying. So now we've developed, we've learned, so it goes to another level. What was expected of me when I was studying is not the same that's expected of you. And what should be expected of your children and my grandchildren is not going to be the same that is expected of you. It raises up with every generation till we reach the level of global equality and respect and our learning and practice of the deen. We got to think long term, man. Long term. I'm watching us surrender ourselves to others for far too long. I'm watching us do it. generation after generation, we always on the back of the bus because too many of us are playing games. We're always on the back of the bus because too many of us are playing games. And we're happy with being a silly idiot. That's not cool. We're happy with being silly when we should be dead serious. I ain't saying we don't have fun, but this ain't a joke. This is future generations' life and survival. And I'm watching in the suburbs, they're building institutions and doing what we're talking about because of support and resources and knowing the value of what they're doing. And we can't keep allowing that to happen without making a change. There's no way that none of us who studied, even for a short time, actually studied. I'm not talking about you was on vacation visiting someplace. You actually studied something. There's no way that you could study and not clearly know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you didn't study. Impossible that you could have actually studied and not realize what I'm talking about. You know, some people go overseas and they're just on vacation. They're visiting. They didn't study, they're visiting. I'm talking about you actually sat your tail down and learned something and sat with a teacher, even if it's a short time, and actually observe the environment of Islamic education, not playing around. Stop playing and get serious, because it is serious. The ones who's trying to destroy us as a people are dead serious. They're not playing. Go look at the prison. They're not playing. They're not playing. They are dead serious. And they're working at every single level to annihilate us. We cannot play. We cannot play. We can't afford it. Even when we're relaxing, we have to be serious relaxing. We're in a serious struggle. We're in a serious struggle. And all these things we mentioning are extremely important. And trust me, when we wake each other up, it's going to look totally different. It's going to look totally different when we wake up. It's going to look totally different. You know, it's going to look totally different. And it's a hard job because too many of us who actually know don't have the enthusiasm and energy and the struggle with our people to get what it takes, because we are a hard nut to crack. So we'll just entertain the wealthy, really, you know, get a few brothers that are special, bring them along in our minds. This is my crew. And the rest of us, well, don't know what to tell y'all. Yeah, this happens. It's real. I know it. Right? It's real. It's real. It's real. We busy crapping around. Dudes is 30 years old and don't know their Fard Ein. That's a crime. 30 years old and you don't know your Fard Ein. That is a crime. 30. He was 13 learning Islamic sciences. Think about that. We just mentioned it. 13, 14, 15, mastering Islamic sciences. That was our people in Africa. We have people that are grown men and don't know their Fard Ain and been Muslim most of their life. There's a problem here. There's a problem, and we got to fix it. We have to fix it. And even if we don't possess it individually, we have to get it collectively. And we have to change that narrative. That's standard in their community. That's our people. That's standard. What about us? What about us? We count. We count. We count. We count. And that's what we're doing here. So granted, you may not like our style because we definitely in your face. That's true. And maybe we could be better at that. We could be. But we are who we are, man. We're street dudes. We came from the streets. It's always hard out there. That's how we was raised. But if you learn, you know what we're talking about. We ain't saying nothing strange. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. This is traditional Islam as it is. Nothing strange, nothing weird, no calling to ourselves, none of that. Calling to this tradition in the proper way because we know what it is not to have it, right? I know the feeling. I know what it feels to be in a position to not have access. I know the feeling. I know the feeling that they keep everything for themselves and we got to tap dance, backflip, cartwheel just to get a portion of what they give to themselves easily and freely. I know that feeling. I know what they build for themselves and leave us with nothing. I know that feeling. And I watch our people continue the legacy of giving to everyone else and taking from us. I watch it. I see it. I understand it. And I know we know it. And we continue. That hurts. You understand what I'm saying? It hurts deep down in my heart. I'm like, listen, man, no, we can't do that no more. We have to take a strong approach to this work. We have to. You know? We watch our youth get swallowed. And we see it. Our brothers and sisters in Islam who are not us, that don't affect them really. It is as they don't even live around it. They don't even exist. They don't even mix with it. It doesn't concern them. But these are our people who could be me and you if we get ourselves together. Right? I know what it's like. I'm not speaking from some, fantasy island. I lived it. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I lived it in all of its forms. I understand. I lived it. I'm not just talking junk. I've lived it. I know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not fantasy island. I actually experienced it. I know what I'm talking about. Just as sure as I have this shirt over my body and this kufi on my head and these glasses on my face, I understand. And I'm screaming out with my soul that we make a change. Right? We have to make a change. And the first change we got to make is to have our correct understanding of this religion, because it is going to be the way that will make us successful. But if we misunderstand it, if we're confused, if we're all over the place, it's not going to work. Not the religion doesn't work. You don't understand the religion. That's why it ain't working. Or you only understand parts of the religion and you're missing other vital parts to help you be successful. You're missing them and you refuse to go get them. But you need them for your complete success. So may Allah make it easy for us. I hope everything is clear. I hope I was very explicit. I hope nothing I said was vague. But if you have questions to clarify something, please feel free. But I want you to understand me. So if you have any questions, go for it. I don't mind. We finish, so it's just your question. It's your time. If you have something you wanted to ask me about or you needed clarification, please go. I'm open for whatever you got. Shoot. And please try to stick to the topic so we don't deviate for somewhere that's irrelevant to what we're talking about. Oh, good question. Nail, let me ask you a question. Do you have a sheikh? I'm answering your question. Be serious or don't ask. Do you have a sheikh? So we're not going to go on a long dialogue. I'm going to be direct to you. Do you have a sheikh? What's his name? What's his name? I'm going to help you answer your own question. Do you have a sheikh? You said yes. What's his name? I'm going to help you answer your own question. What's his name? Okay, his name is Abuna Tamim Abdar. What did you say his name was? Abuna Sheikh Tamim Abdar Sudani. Tayyib. If all of us, your sheikh was teaching, and we did what you did, do you think what you do on our platform, if we did that in the class of your sheikh, would you think he would accept? That's a question. What you do on our platform with us, if your sheikh was teaching and we did the same thing to him, do you think he would accept? I ask you the question, whatever you do, the same exact thing you do you think he would accept? He's teaching, and we did the same thing you do to him. Yes or no? Question. I'm helping you to answer your question. The first question you put up. You answer the question, yes or no. If we did the same thing you did, he was teaching, the same thing you do, the exact same thing, would he accept? Whatever you do, would he accept? Just yes or no answer. It requires, you know what you do, and everyone else knows what you do. If we did that to your sheikh while he was teaching, would he accept? Say it again. Okay. No, he's not an American. No, he would not accept some things. So, the first thing we have to learn to do to unify, even if we differ, is to give each other the same respect that we give someone else. That's one of the first things we should do. That's what you call adab, manners. The first thing we should do is give ourselves the same respect, even more than that we would give to others when we disagree. That's a first step. And it's called the manners of learning between teacher and student. And all of us need to develop those manners and behaviors with each other. All of us, not just you. I'm answering your question. One of the reasons why we don't unify because we disagree, because we lose respect. That's the answer to your original question. Your question is, how can we unify when we disagree? First, we can learn to be respectful to each other, even when we disagree. And I just gave you a scale for that. You said you have a sheikh, you named him, you said that he wouldn't accept. And you said he's not an American. Okay, give us the same respect, even more so, because our situation is much more dire than theirs. We have to do the same thing. We can't say lisan al-hal. We don't say it with our tongue. Lisan al-hal is our state. We can't say to each other, man, I ain't listening to that nigga. We can't say that. Nor can we act like that, nor can we think like that. We never say it. Our state says it. Man, I don't care what that nigga's talking about. We can't be like that with each other, right? Your opinion, your position needs to be as valuable to me as anyone else's. And even when I disagree with you, that never goes away. That's how we got to be. You follow me? And if we can do that, that will help us towards getting to unity. Because when we differ, it's going to look totally different if we respect each other. Even when we differ, it's not going to look the same. No, it ain't about me. We talking about us. It ain't about me. Because me, I don't care. I like having fun. I'd play with you all day long and crack jokes and shoot jabs and throw rockets all day. But that's for me and you. That's not for us. Do you see the difference? That's for me and you. That's not for us. You asked about us. Unity. So the way we're going to get it is when we respect ourselves. We have adab with ourselves, not just adab with someone else. You follow my point? Right? That's the first step to unity. So even when I disagree with my brother who has an idea that I don't agree with, I should always respect him. And I should always treat him with that respect, even while we differ. Right? It's not, I'm some of us, right? And that's a big step to solving our problems. Because when I respect you, I'm going to listen to you differently, right? If I consider you as a person of value, I'm going to listen to you differently, right? Even if I disagree with you, I'm going to be actually looking to see where me and you agree at and how can we do this work together. I'm really looking for that. I'll give you an example of this in my own life, and I'll share it with you. And Muawiyah is here to prove it. And people who know me know it. You know Abu Muslima, Imam Abu Muslima? You do know him, right? Abu Muslima was the most ferocious leader of the African American Salafi movement in this country at one time. When he was younger, when he graduated from Medina, they came back to America on fire, right? So any of you who know Abu Muslima, to this day, he's hard to deal with for even the Salafis. But guess what? And you know how I feel about the whole doctrine. And you know how he feel about Bid'ah and his mind and all that. But if you ever seen us together and we talk and we relate and we visit one another and we disagree, we never disrespect each other. Never. Right? And we talk about our disagreements. And if you know him and you know me, you can imagine what that looks like. But the respect we have for one another as Black men, right? As Black men, we have a value for that. And even though we have extreme differences sometimes in our understanding, we love our people, we love each other, and we're going to work that stuff out somehow with utmost respect. You see my point? Do you understand my point? That's how we're going to get unity. Now, I gave you an extreme example. So anyone will tell you, he comes visit me, I go visit him. We talk, we sit, we do it. We differ, but we have some adab with each other you won't believe. Our manners with each other, you would think we selling out or something because of the respect we have between each other as a people. And we understand issues. We got to disagree. We got to talk. We're going to chop it up. But there's a certain way we do it. That's how we're going to get unity. And we need it. And it's hard because we come from the diss culture. Let me diss you. You know, especially us. Let me diss you. Let me make a diss track. That's what's been happening in our communities, right? Let me make a diss track. Let me refute you. Let me expose. Come on, we brothers. At the end of the day, we inherit this mess. We didn't make it. This mess was given to us. Now, at least we can do is fix it somehow, some way. And people have profited off of our dysfunction. So at a level, we got to say, oh, this got to stop. I went to study in certain areas. He went to study in certain areas. He got what he got. I got what I got. Now we back here with that. We got to work that stuff out. We have to work that out. That's my point. So that's my answer. If we want unity, despite our differences, let us learn to respect one another and discuss our differences seriously, not as just having fun. Seriously. We have serious, if there's serious differences and they're dividing us and they're causing confusion, we need to understand them, not just jump on sides in ignorance. No, This is why we differ. And this is a serious issue. And this is why. And this is why we're going to, how we're going to fix it, or what can't be fixed and why it can't be fixed. And then we're going to actually strive to do better. It may take long. But if we love each other, we have respect for each other, we'll do it. No problem. Right? Now listen, let me give you an example. That's with a hardcore Salafi, a hardcore Wahhabi, whatever you want to call it. That's a hardcore one. And you got a zealot, dogmatic Ash'ari, and we can do it. And we do it. Do you know some foreigners that are Ahlus Sunnah won't do that with us? They'll just attack me. Right? They're Sunni, but then who's this black guy raising up talking like that? But you a Sunni, you Ahlus Sunnah. This is a guy you call Wahhabi. I can sit down and talk to him, and we can roll and understand, disagree, and still find a medium ground to be respectful to one another. And we Sunni, and sometimes you're struggling with that. That lets you know we got a lot of work to do. Right? We got a lot of work to do. That was my answer. Did it suffice you or no? If you follow what I mean. And that's for all of us. There's a certain respect we got to have with each other. Yeah, I'll get you one, Ismail. Send me your address. I have one left. You can have it. I found one yesterday. So you just got to send me where to send it to you. Get it to me, inshallah. I'll get it to you. Any more questions? And I hope I answered you well, Nail, if you got my point. Okay, with that being said, Barakallahu bikum wa jazakumullahu khaira. Listen, all of us together, myself included, we have to be a family. We have to love each other. We all we got. And I ain't saying it's easy, because it's not. But we must change this situation we're in as a people, as Muslims, as a people. We have work to do. And each and every one of us have to do our part. We have to find out where we can assist, and we have to get busy. And each and every one of us, until we die. That's how it is, man. And I can't say it no other way. We have a lot of work to do. Generational work. It's not impossible. People have done it before us. Examples have been set before us. It can be done. It's achievable. But we have to work. It's not going to be achieved by wishful thinking. You have to actually put in the work. Barakallahu bikum wa jazakumullahu khaira. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Insha'Allah ta'ala, I remind you, Sheikh Walid Rifai's class at 8 o'clock tonight. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.